All right. Hello. Good morning. Sorry if, hopefully that had, I don't know if the intro had audio. I apologize if it didn't. But either way, here we are. Thank you so much for joining me. Paul Trani, today's session sponsored by apparently Nike, but I'm so happy you guys are here. So let's get this party started. It's all about Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge today. Hello, Sam, Sven, Christina, Andreas. Christina Malut from Denver. So am I. How the heck are you? What's your address exactly? Just go ahead and type it in there. I'm kidding, of course. It's a beautiful day here. Hopefully it is wherever you are. And welcome. So let's just kind of dive into this. And yeah, again, I'm so thankful you guys are here today because we're going to have some fun. Hello, Anika and Ferry and Shandi. Big thank you to Claudia and Jesus as well, who kicked it off today. If you're joining me elsewhere, just know that I'm over here on Behance as well. So let's just type in hello. There we are. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Let's get this party started. What's up, Bruce? What's up, Bruce? Yeah. Christina, I'm in the Highlands. I'm like right across from, I'm on the other side of I-25 from downtown. Anyway, Behance.net /challenge /Photoshop. My lips can't keep up with my brain. You're watching the video right now, but we can go ahead and get started by clicking that Get Started button. And did you notice what we're going to be doing today? Photo filters, having some fun in Lightroom, which is going to be awesome. But then we're also going to jump into Photoshop, play with some neural filters, and really just make something crazy and have some fun. So yeah, what's up, Alberto Silva? Cool. Does feel like a Friday. Technically, it is my Friday because we get tomorrow off. Once you download it, this is the file that you're going to get. You're going to get this person, right? Just kind of looking deep in thought, staring off into the distance. Just being like, what did I walk into the kitchen for? That's the look she has in her face. Why did I come into the kitchen? You guys do that? I do that. Okay. Let's do this. Do this dance. Because if we go into photo, by the way, you have Lightroom, you have Photoshop, and then you have Lightroom Classic, okay? This is for your hardcore users like Terry White, right? He'd use that. We have Photoshop, which we're going to use plenty of, but we also have Lightroom, which is just awesome. So this is the sort of like new Lightroom presets, filters, available on desktop, iPad, web. That's what I'm going to use. In fact, I can go ahead and click open and dive into this. All right, MD Njar, I see you here. Awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are seeing me elsewhere. All right, so here's my Lightroom, and we're going to use Lightroom for its presets. Sam, you're ticking all the boxes. So yeah. Tim Mobest is here. Tim is now, is it like official? You're an official Adobe employee? Is that right? Or you graduated, and can you just say something in chat that you're like officially the I don't know, I would just call you the technical lead for Europe, and boy are we happy to have you. So what you need to do is just take that photo and then just drop it into Lightroom. You could also click this add photos button, but I'm kind of lazy. I just drop it in there, and that's how we import that photo. So yeah, yes indeed, official Adobe employee. So the short of it is, like, people go on contract. I think he's been a contractor for us since 2017, and it's nice that we finally snagged him. We didn't let anybody else take him because he's too valuable of a person. Tim, you're amazing. And I was actually looking at your Photoshop tips and tricks, little known tips and tricks, is what I was looking at the other day, that live stream, and I found it very beneficial. So thank you so much for that. So once you add that photo, right, you could see, oh, just now and previously added photos as well, right? So just now, there's the photo that we have. We could just double click on that, and now we can have some fun with it. Congrats to Tim. We suckered him into the business. We suckered you in. And hopefully you couldn't be happier, because it's an outstanding place to work. I'm on year 11 myself. And they can't get rid of me. I'm hard to get rid of. It's like, oh, this guy. So as we twirl this open, This is the button that I always look for in any app, is the auto button. So right up here, we have our controls. Like I look for the auto button and I'm just like, hey, what is this gonna do? Right? Just see what it does. Click auto. It's already an amazing photo. So it does a little bit of, decreases the highlights and the blacks. So again, before it's a little washed out, after it does that. So there's not a lot we need to do with it. Like we can adjust the exposure. You can have, again, I think it's overexposed a little bit, but you could have all the fun that you want with these contrast, shadows, highlights, all of this stuff. These are all adjustment layers that usually we have to select independently in good old Photoshop. Okay. So, but it's nice that I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to warm this up. I want to cool it down. You just start playing around because you know what? You can't break it, right? It's okay. We could tweak this all day long. Bop, bop. Right? We can start to color grade this as well, right? We can take a look at certain parts. Really like mess with it is what I'm doing. This is brand new, the color grading, by the way, which again is also on mobile. So I can view this on my iPad and all that. As I click versions, right, we could see sort of a version that I can create and click right here and say Paul's ugly yellow version, like that. So there's my ugly yellow version, and we can always go back to the original. Cool thing about Lightroom is we're not messing with the pixels back here, because even though I changed it to this, right, the original is going to stay the same, and then we can have fun in Lightroom. Okay. What I like to do is go down to presets, like I mentioned, right down here at the bottom. Sensei is so smart. Adobe Sensei, that's what we call our machine learning and AI technology, right? So presets, we're saying, hey, rather than me picking randomly, let's roll through some of these. Natural, bright, ba 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 ba. Ooh. I'm really into cool light as well. Ooh, vintage. Look at all these gorgeous ones. Look at these black and white ones. Look at the difference between these two black and whites. The black and white punch versus low contrast. I'm interested in this low contrast version. Can you create a version in mobile Lightroom? Great thing about that, Bruce. Oh, my iPad's clear over there. It's going to be the same experience. So once I make this low contrast version, this version is actually going to be in my Lightroom, on my iPad, in my Lightroom mobile app, just so you know. And I'm sorry I don't have that set up, but I'm going to just burn through this. So there we go. We could pick this one. That one looks good, right? From there, again, I can just go ahead and export this out. You could also use this button right up here. Bam, right? You could export out a JPEG. Guess what? Right in here, you can invite people, share and edit with this. But more importantly, actually what I want to get into is your custom settings. So let's click right here. This is what it's going to output it to. But even as you take a look right in here, you can say, hey, you know what? Include watermark. This is brand new. Clicking right there, include watermark. I already had this set up, but the short of it is I've already identified a file, right? This watermark ping file, and it puts it right down here. Okay, so you can make that watermark, do those edits, all those changes. It could be text or graphic, right? Once you have that set up to just be a graphic, export that one photo to your desktop, and we can call this, you know, whatever, Lightroom. Are we good? How we doing? Space Kitten's in the house. I like when I see that name, Space Kitten. Cool. So that is done, right? But let's kind of take this to the next level. So let's go back to this. Let's go to the original, right? Here we are. And again, we could tweak this, make it look a little bit warmer or cooler. And I could even click on this white balance, say, hey, you know, this is the medium tone, so adjust accordingly. So that's what I'm doing there. But what I want to do is I want to bring this into good old Photoshop. So what I can do in here is just do a right click and then edit in Photoshop. So that's what we're going to do. Edit in Photoshop. Spent 10 minutes in Lightroom playing around. I'm sorry there's nothing too major to edit in here because we could have gotten into some of these other settings if we wanted to, but let's just jump right in here. So sure enough, it opens in Photoshop and we can have some fun with this. Valder. Oh, I missed the... You're on the mend from COVID. Oh, good to hear, Valder. Hopefully you're doing better. I mean, it can't be easy on anyone, you know? So thanks for hanging in there. Hopefully we could provide some education or some edutainment, if you will, as we dive into this. All right. Yeah, I hope you're doing better, man. I feel for people who get it. My sister got it, and her and her husband are still like slowly recovering from it, you know, and I feel bad for them. But now my brother-in-law is going to do a half marathon in April, so this month. All right. Ooh, Command E is your shortcut from to edit in Photoshop from Lightroom. Thank you so much. What else was I going to say? I don't remember, but I'm going to get the vaccine today, actually, just so you know. All right, so in here, what we could do is we could play with this. Now, I just kind of made a couple layers, right? So I just took this, dragged it down to the new page icon. You know, I have sort of 3 different versions that I get to play with. What I also like to do that I showed you guys yesterday is convert this to a smart object, right? Convert it to a smart object. It'll do that. This is a pretty large file, so we'll give it a second. Give it a second, will ya? Smart object, always protected, has insurance on it, right? We took a policy out on it. Now we can go to filter. We can go to neural filters, clicking right there. Neural filters, and we could play with this. Valder's on the mend. Ooh, Marsha's getting a vaccine tomorrow. Awesome. I think I'm gonna get the 5G vaccine today. So I'm finally gonna have 5G, so I'm pretty excited about it. I'm kidding, of course. All right, so let's take a look at these, because right in here, as we see neural filters, you have our official ones. Ooh, I got a download style transfer. Let's make sure these others are good. Okay. But then you just turn them on. So that's all I need to do. I want to do skin smoothing. First of all, she already looks great. Skin smoothing, smooths her skin, right? We can crank that up to 100 and you can really start to see her blur out. Looks like every Instagram filter out there, or every, I don't know, Snapchat filter. But also style transfer is going to be even more fun. So we really want to take this to the next level by doing just a style transfer. Clicking right there, we can see what it does with this portrait. Look at how dramatically it changes it, right? So this is what I'm looking for. Can you reverse order on layers? Yeah, I don't know what you mean. You can always change the order of your layers. And if you stack these, because you could put one neural filter on top of another, and then you could reorder those smart filters, right? But let's click through these. Oh, gorgeous, right? Let's try the cat. And this is another reason why it had to be downloaded, because there are more styles over here than when we first launched, right? This cat wasn't there. Not that I've memorized all of them, but I know that cat wasn't there. And I feel like this one looks new too. But again, just click on the one you like. Let's go with this green one. See, it changes and matches those tones. It recognizes faces. Ah, gorgeous. Tattoo is one of my favorites usually. Let's see what it does. It does cool. Slow clap. Amazing. Style transfer. Let's do that. Let's output this as a smart filter. That's what's going to happen. But we could also output to a duplicate layer masked if we want to, right? But let's just go ahead and output that as smart filter. Click done. Cool. So here it is. We could see this one that I took the insurance plan out on this layer. So now it's always protected. I'm always covered, regardless of what happens in the future in Photoshop. Turn off neural filters. You'll see the before and then the after, right? And we could get creative with this, because now I'm thinking, as I look at this, I could do something like this. You ready for this? Based on what we learned yesterday, we can go ahead and do a remove background, right? So we'll isolate her, right? We just isolated her. Then we can go ahead and convert to smart object, right? And this is a pretty big file, so things do take a second. And then right up here, we could say, hey, you know what? I like that neural filters. If you just hold down the Option key, you can click and drag that up and apply it to this new layer, okay? So now we have it just on her, and we still have the original background, okay? But what we can do is we can also just do another fun effect on the background. So this is going to be technically the background only, but I'm separating her out, the subject, so the woman, and then we have the background, right? Like that. So let's go in there, filter, neural filters. Can we take this file into After Effects and make the layers move? Oh, yeah, we can make it move. We can make it move for sure, right? You could actually make it move in Photoshop. Okay, so there we go. So in this case, I'm thinking about like just blending styles. So doing one thing with the foreground, something else with the background. Whether I'm successful or not remains to be seen. I actually really like this one because it's still matching the pinks or those lovely sort of peachy colors, right? Taken from this flower, right? Let's just click on this one for fun. Yeah, we're going with flowers. There it is. Export that out. Oh, did I hit cancel accidentally? I apologize. I think I accidentally hit cancel. Let's try this one. This is say goodbye to your afternoon. Whatever you had plans doing, cancel them, because now you're just going to be playing with this all day long. So click OK, not cancel. My bad. There it is. Just like that. I can consider cropping it differently, right? So if I wanted to post this to Instagram, you could use the crop tool if you want. Maybe you're like me, I just use the selection tool and I hold down the shift key to make this a perfect square, because I think sometimes for beginners, the crop tool is kind of a pain to use. So let's go to image, crop based on selection. We can crop that down and still move it around and all that good stuff. Okay. We'll output this. We'll have some more fun with it as well. GN, how you doing? So once we've done that, quick export as JPEG. If we want to, actually, let's do this. File, export, save for web, legacy. Her face is still kind of muddy, but right in here, I drop this down. Do like 1,000 or 2,000, right? And I'm noticing her face is looking a little muddy right in here. I would fix that. Right, but we'll go ahead and hit save. Ooh, MD Jakir from Bangladesh. Oh, I love final. Bangladesh, I've never been to Bangladesh. Yeah, most people haven't been anywhere these days, and it's a bummer. I'm looking forward to traveling and actually seeing people. There's one, again, a little muddy right here. Great thing is we could always jump in and fix that, because again, that's this woman's face, neural filters that we can change. But look, let's get into some more. Arsalan Ali, how are you doing, my friend? I've missed ya. What have you been doing, huh? Just living the dream? Nope. There goes the next hour of my life as I try to pick one of these. Yeah, you could blend them as well. Maybe I'll do that. Right? Curious how to blend things? Okay, so yesterday we learned how to add a layer mask and remove, right? Just by painting on this layer mask with black, right? We could go ahead and remove. Let's crank this all the way up. And what it's doing is actually revealing the photo underneath. Okay. So let's go in there with a brush. Let's crank down the flow. But we're revealing that other photo underneath to just get rid of this black because it's looking a little ugly. Let's use my... And this kind of makes me feel like an artist. It's like, hey, I'm painting, right? So I don't know if... There we go. Look at how much we've brightened up the face, right? So now we just have all that detail in the hair, makes it look more unique. Now I can output this. Looks so much better. Do they keep adding images for skies as well? That's a good question. The answer is like, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. I haven't looked lately. But the great thing is like you could actually have your own library of skies and that you can use. Again, sky replacements right there. So let's talk about that sometime. Okay. Cool, that's done. We have this one, this smart object. Explore all of these because we can make this person look old or young as we go into the beta filters. Let's turn off style transfer. Go into the beta filters right here. And then we'll go to what everybody does is this. Everybody does smart portrait. But just so you know what's going on behind the scenes is it's actually going to compare this image to thousands upon thousands of other photos that Adobe Sensei has been trained on. So it's saying, okay, here's a face. Here's my catalog of all these old faces at a similar angle. Let's go ahead and see if we can match that up with this image, right? This is happening in the cloud because, again, do you really want a database of 40,000 images or however many we're at now? Do you really want that, right, on your hard drive? No. That's why it has to process it in the cloud. So you can see, there we go. So it starts to add some wrinkles there. Again, she's beautiful to begin with, and she's still absolutely beautiful. So again, gorgeous. Aged her a little bit. Adjust the head direction if we want to. Usually changing these properties happens a little faster. Let's see if we can get her to rotate her head. Let's get her to rotate her gaze. Yeah, this gets a little bit more difficult as we push into more extremes. Look what is happening to her eyes. Not quite averting her gaze. So again, we could always turn that off to reset it. Turn off the head direction. And you guys get the idea. Okay? Cool. Here's a number of other ones that you could say if you're interested in trying, turning a portrait into a sketch, things like that. But that's all I'll do. Just like change that. See what you'll look like in the future. What I think is fun to do is like take an old photo of, I don't know, your grandpa or something, and then roll that back and see what they look like when they're younger. So I encourage you to do that as well. Neural filters, and let's not forget about your intro to Lightroom, right in here, as we can see, where you could do the same thing. You can still jump in, crop this down, export that out, make your changes using presets right in here too. Okay, so have fun. That's really what I want people to do, is like, don't be afraid of breaking stuff, right? Oh, Arsalan brings up a great question. This might be off track, by the way. So Arsalan asks, like, why can't you distort? Why can't you warp vector smart objects, right? So you can come in here. If it's a vector smart object that gets pasted into Photoshop and you try to warp it, it says, hey, I can't. I don't know why you can't. But the short of it is, anytime you do that, I'm sorry I don't have Illustrator open, just take that object that happens to be from AI. It's a smart object, paste it in as a smart object, take that and then just convert it to a smart object. Convert to smart object. So you kind of technically have a smart object within a smart object, but that protects it. That means you can go ahead and distort and warp that and all that fun stuff. So that should answer your question. Arsalan as well. You must destroy to create. Who said that? Is that like, that sounds like a, is that Picasso? I forget. I forget who says that. Anyways, I would say here's kind of my final that I would probably work with. And not to forget, you can even add additional filters or not. By the way, you can, this is brand new as well. You can say, hey, you know what, convert that back 2 layers, right? So don't make it a smart object. And you could do that twice, and then it's back to where it was. Andreas. Einstein said it, to destroy, you must create. All right, undoing that's taking a second. But you get the idea. I'm down to my last couple seconds. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Post what you can, too, of course. Discord, I'll be looking for that. Thank you so much for being a beautiful part of this community. You guys are what makes it special. And we will see you guys soon. I'll be hosting Shanti Sparrow later on today. So look out for that. See you guys in a little bit. Thanks so much.